um, but I'm so in my head, and that I wouldn't really notice it myself. But people read it, so yeah.
Well, I feel it now from the inside. Since I became aware of Heaven's Cross, which I heard about already in 2020 from Kutumi. He spoke already about this, that in 2023 there will be something extraordinary, never experienced before from humanity, from Earth. But he didn't say what. He only mentioned be prepared for it, connect with your 2023 self. And but now, since I knew, I got the confirmation from Adamus, from the Comfort Circle, it is Heaven's Cross, and it will be epic. So since with this knowingness, I wake up in the morning and I'm full of joy, and I feel how consciousness is increasing or raising without doing anything. It's just the energy is flowing around here in the orbit. Yeah.
Do you find it similar, Hans Christian, in Adelaide?
I'm pretty lazy at the moment, and I'm just doing the absolute necessary things, and not feeling really guilty about it. No, and but I have a bit the impression that I just stand a bit on the sideline. I don't want to be involved in too many things in my life, and that's fine for the moment. But I realize yeah, I'm holding back is the wrong word, because holding back means you want to do something and you don't. And the thing is, I'm not really driven to anything particular strongly, but I feel a more understanding beyond the mind. So my mind struggles to make sense of everything, and I feel that there is something else, which is not the mind, that gives you a kind of calm, and which I definitely need also, because I'm also watching a lot of media channels that tell me what nasty things are going on in the world in the backgrounds, and that's a tightrope act for me, really, because I can't unknow these things or put my head in the sand and pretend they don't exist. There certainly exists something in some way, but also you have to keep distant. You have to be in your safe space where you create your own reality, and this is probably the biggest controversy I have in my life. I believe I can create my own reality, but then when I look at some things that are happening, for example, if I wanted to travel to Thailand, I couldn't do it now, because suddenly out of thin air they again asked a double vaccination for traveling to Thailand, and since I have not done any, that would be a hindrance, and so looking at these things, it's easy to slip into victim energy when you see that there are some authorities that prevent you doing certain things, also not justified. And this is where I'm feeling, I wanna be in my light. I wanna be in my radiance. But there are these things also going on, and how much do I actually create them for myself or not? What's the best way to me to create the most positive outcome for me? And these are questions I cannot answer properly. And yeah, and Adamo said it in different contexts. You can be more free in prison than because you're free in your mind, in your being, even if you are in prison, like Tobias at the end of his previous lifetime, and you can be totally free there. But this is not the path I want to go. I don't want to be free in prison. It's not necessarily my.
You don't want to find out
idea.
if you don't want to put it in practice. I don't blame you.
Yeah, so I'm tapping in different worlds here, and at the same time tapping into the non-physical with Heaven's Cross and trying to get a feel there and so on. So, but it's confusing. Everything is a bit confusing.
I think wasn't it Adamus that said just recently, with all of this stuff, we have to take the best attitude is just to say fuck it all.
Yeah.
Yes, he did.
You know, and I can see why now that is applicable. You know, I find that it really is applicable. I get up as well, and I just couldn't, you know, if someone would ask me, oh, can you explain what's going on right now or define it? And I'm thinking, I have no idea. I have no idea about anything, pretty much. That's what it feels like. And I think it's probably a good place to be, really, because then we can really just, rather than stop the process by thinking, we can just let it happen, you know, whatever needs to happen. And I find that at the moment for people really, I mean, there is this incredible joy, but also, you know, before the Heaven's Cross, a lot of the people are going into their real depths and really dealing with those final things. I mean, not final, but things that are really stopping them from allowing that soul connection, whatever it is. And there's so many different things for people. So it's been quite an interesting experience, you know, to sort of speak with people, because I've had this last couple of weeks this year, I've had quite a few private sessions, and they're just, and what is amazing is just what insights people have, and how people, we've all changed from like last year or the year before. You know, people are really now tangibly feeling the soul, and tangibly feeling whether they can put it into words or not. It matters. You know, it doesn't matter, but there's so much going on. And like you know, you said, Doris, in many very good, beautiful way. And Hans Christian, what I hear you saying, you're describing things. I mean, you're probably not allowing yourself to feel just how expanded you are, but you feel, to me, you feel very expanded, you know. So like, let's say all of us, or maybe it's because I'm projecting, who knows, like, you know, isn't it? Don't you feel it, Doris? You feel it too, isn't it? Yeah. All of us, we're just like blossoming, you know, those of us that have last few years spent time working on these things, you know, like all of a sudden it's just a real blossoming with a few hiccups, you know, those, if we still have those final hiccups, but the pure joy, the pure, oh my God, I can't even express what beautiful feelings I'm feeling. On daily basis, I wake up and it's just, oh my God, there's no words for them yet. And it has to do, for me, it has to do with the masculine and the feminine and the falling in love. And I look at people, and you know, as much as what it used to be quite hard to be around other people because of feeling of that suffering, now it's just I can feel their joy, or even if they're not feeling it, like the beauty of it, the beauty of human life, the beauty of children, the beauty of, you know, men in general, just in general, the beauty of women. It's been like, for me, it's like
Mm.
you know, compared to what, but it used to not be so easy to just go on the street and see this, you know, because for me, it used to be, the muggles, and then I have to separate, because we did have to, it was like a proper journey, you know, we had to separate ourselves, so we had to put a distance. And now it's kind of like coming back with this new awareness, with this new, I don't know, just joy, just pure joy. Not that life is, for me, life is not perfect either. You know, every day there's something to deal with and whatever have you. But it's just like this incredible feelings. As for me, it's just like, oh my God, I'm just melting. You know? Yeah. So yeah.
I realized that it is, what does it mean to change perceptions? Perceptions are so, became so important for me in my life now. I haven't been aware of it last year, for instance. Even I did perspectives with you, it was in Crane, but really from deeply inside, become aware of it in my daily life. This has changed quite a lot. And I mean, I mentioned sometimes, I'm fine, it's abundance, just what I need, it's here. I don't have, but my bank account is a little bit, and then I became aware it's all about my perception. I'm terribly abundant inside, but the recent years when my money was just going smaller and smaller and smaller, I started to think, do I have the money for it? Can I buy it? Can I do it? And this perception just brought me back to limitations. And I haven't been aware, it's so tricky sometimes. These are small thoughts. It was not, I always became aware, I am abundant, but these small thoughts, this perception, they're holding me back. And that's now I become aware of it very, very much. Whatever I think, it's going to be created. And so I'm very careful. I feel into my potentials. I feel that there are new potentials blossoming now, and I'm just letting them come out. But what you mentioned before with, let's say on the outside, I realized at the beginning of a new year, an old friend, or it's more a friend of my best friend, but I know her since 30, 40 years. She tried to call me always. Often I didn't answer the phone, because she wanted, she tried to do some energy feeding. So she started this year again with all her illnesses, and I said, stop, Henny, stop. I know it all. I went through all of it. It's all your responsibility. It's all your energy, and you can change it. And then I turned it around. We spoke about her grandson, which is really a kind of a crystalline child, beautiful guy. And I told her, look, this grandchild of you is here. He is radiating, just accept it, accept him. And someone went on, and whenever she tried to start coming out with her illnesses or energy feeding, I stopped. It was automatically, it was stopped. She wasn't able to feed any energy anymore for me, which she did. The last call went about 2 years ago, and I felt very bad afterwards. This time, after half an hour, I said, okay, I think it's enough for today. And I felt good. So I realized, okay, I could speak with her, but still having my own boundaries. And I didn't let her enter myself. Yeah. So this gave me some, I would say, some satisfaction to be able to really say no more, not with me. And I mean, years ago she would have been insulted when once I told her, you know, it's like this. No, but not me. It's you, and all this kind of stuff. She wasn't insulted at all. So I felt there is also something turning around in her, and yeah, and also with the neighbors in the house, we had a lot of problems last year, and the problem maker, they moved. They are not here anymore. So it was also I accepted it and passed it over to my master and said, okay, you must step out of the way. It's up to you. Now they moved on. So things are really developing in a very easy way, and just yeah, without doing anything. And yeah, what I mentioned too, I feel I really sense the knowing, the unknown, and I just say to myself, I'm open to it. I'm totally open to it, to this new, this unknown. I do let surprise me, and I just accept it. And it's in a way exciting because yeah, I think we can't have any idea what's going to happen after the end of March. And on the other way, I think it's already here, Heaven's Cross.
Yes.
It's already here.
I feel very similar. I just now love the new as much as, you know, when you start, because you feel before so powerless against life, so and a victim, you know, in the old days. And so the first thing when really realizing that these things work, it's like, oh, I know everything now, you know. And you can see now when we look back at the newer people, we can see that how the more newer they are, the more they know everything, right? It's just that cute stage, isn't it, that we've all been in. But now I'm just like you. I love the unknown, and also with this Heaven's Cross. I mean, this year and last year also, it's been even more like this. I don't even know what I'm going to be like next week, or, you know, it's like it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be surprising. I have no idea what I'm going to like, what is going to come up. And that is, for me, I just love it. And so for the Heaven's Cross, you know, I had to tell Adamas, dear Adamas, you're going to have to start accepting I don't know again, because we now are in love with it. We like to say, we don't know. Because you know how he's like, oh, don't, you have to go to the toilet. But that was part of that old time, you know, because it's this I don't know now is coming from a very different space, you know, because it used to come because we didn't know how to communicate with this kind of presence, with the deeper parts of ourselves. So that's the I don't know that is fair enough. You have to go to spend time in toilet or whatever. But this I don't know comes from just this being so infatuated with the mystery that it's fine to be, just like you said, surprise me, you know. And it's almost kind of like when you have a relationship, you know, and you start getting to know your partner, and it's so exciting because you still don't know them, you know, you don't know all of the things and bits about them. So it's kind of like life is this kind of relationship dance. It's quite exciting for me as well.
Yeah. And I think just with that, conferring to Adamus, when he said you have to go to the toilet, then it's the answer came from the mind. Now, this is a difference here. It comes also from the soul. Even the soul doesn't know what's going to happen because it's epic. It's so new. Nobody knows. Even I'm sure even Adamus or any Ascended Masters Club, even they don't know what's going to happen because it is this knowingness, and it depends on our consciousness. How much do we evolve. And so yeah, it's just sitting here like a small child, letting Christmas come to you and be open to be ready to open the gifts, all the gifts that are coming along the way.
And this, like, if it becomes really easy, I mean, I don't know, for me it's easy to connect with soul. Like, I don't know how that it can be easier. It probably can, but I think it's just like the other worlds, you know, because if you look at both of you, like if you really look and feel into yourself, you both very easily connect with your soul. You know, it's not like, let's say, if you compare it to what was 10 years ago when we had to keep, oh my God, you know. So for me, it's going to be interesting to see whether this ease is going to be more for those people that, you know, because there are a lot of people who haven't felt the soul yet, because that stepping from the mind into the soul is the biggest step, isn't it? It's so easy once you do it once, at least, but before that, it is the huge and the most frustrating place to be. So there are a lot of people that are in that space, you know. And so for me, I think I'm kind of thinking also maybe it's going to be for them that biggest, but like whatever is for everyone, I welcome it. Yeah, bring it on, you know, new feelings, new experiences, new talents, new abilities. And that I noticed as well, everywhere that I go, there's just this openness with people with this, what we're doing, you know, and these ideas, and that is one of the surprising things for me as well. Do you notice that as well, Hans Christian? I mean, I know you said that you keep to yourself more, but do you notice like a more openness?
I have always been quite open with other people. And recently I went to an official place, and there is a person who works there. I see him a few times in the year, and each time we meet, we have an interesting talk, and it's not there are no boundaries, maybe the wrong word. It's like no one really holds back. It's just open, you know. I mean, in
spontaneous.
Yeah, it's spontaneous, and there is not there's not a strategy or a fence you build up before yourself. Before you go talk to other person, there is no fence. It's just normal meeting, and yeah, no, I find that I like to talk to people then on a deeper level, in a way, I could say. But also I used public transport, and I did the same thing like what you, Alexa, did. I just look at people and say, oh, this is a beautiful man, this is a beautiful woman, this is a beautiful child, and not talking to them, of course, just watching people and seeing a beautiful world around me. And of course, I see also stressed people that are in pain, and I see them that they in shopping centers, you know, you see the lot, of course, yeah. But yeah, but it's yeah, I'll finish.
And Doris, those insights that you're having, like with perspectives, that's huge. I find, like, me too, perspectives, when you change, when you can at will and at your choice be changing how you perceive things, it's actually when you really start feeling the master that you are. I found, you know, because then the reality becomes so moldable, because it's and you become aware. Like for me, that's what's happened. Like I became aware of the wholeness of this information package or communication that happens between me and the soul self. Let's say me as a human and the soul self, like how whole it is, you know. And then within that, there's so many different nuances and perspectives, and I can actually choose then which perspective and how the perspective that I take just changes everything. Like it takes me out of that victim role, and all of a sudden, and it's that incredible tool of being a creator, because then if you change perspective, my perspective is lighter all of a sudden, and then all of a sudden I see within that issue all these light things, while before I may have been a victim to it. So it's just incredibly empowering tool. And like you said, you know, you have to actually experience it before it's a theory, and you just keep going at a theory and a theory, and then one day you experience it and it's like, oh my God. And it feels so empowering, doesn't it? Like you, because you think, wow, at my fingertips, I have everything at my fingertips, you know, and nothing really has to change. But that's the paradoxical thing, that all of a sudden then those problems just do change, because you are a creator, you know. But even just you say, like, when you come to a point, is like, even if I just have this perspective, I'm actually fine with this, even if nothing else changes. And yet then that those things change. So yeah, and I think this is probably that heaven's cross, isn't it? Because it becomes easier to switch. Like we're not, those thoughts are not so sticky. All of those patterns are much more easier to. I think that's like, it's like I feel myself like a musician, you know. Like I'm like, oh, I'm playing a piano. My reality is
me too.
You know?
When I perceive myself closing the eyes, I always perceive myself as a violin. I am a violin, and it's consciousness who is playing, who is going over, and the resonance. It depends on what I am playing. If it is dur or moll or whatever, if it is joyful or not, this is the resonance in myself, in my reality. And it's I perceive too, it's everything is so beautiful. And you know, I sometimes really was worried, because I really have been living in abundant times. It's now since a few years. It's so narrow, and once my family wanted to support me, but they said, well, you have to tell us for what you need the money. I said, no, I better have only my rent, nothing from you. I won't accept this way of controlling. So, but now they send me money on their own. I don't have to ask for anything. It just comes in. And I know, I realized, my soul showed me too, if I would have had a lot of money, which I had years before, or so, or just a lot, I mean, telling myself, okay, I'm abundant, I would have given it away again, because I always supported others. I supported, when my daughter came along once, oh, mommy, I need 5,000 euros. Okay, mommy paid. As long as I had my gallery, I paid for everybody. I paid for the artists, I paid for the catalogs, I paid for everybody came to me, oh, can you pay? And I did. So I realized that this was this kind of kumbaya from Atlantis. I'm responsible for everybody. And I first had to become aware of this pattern. I am responsible for everybody. And therefore, I realized so deeply, I had to come to this point of having nothing, that I wasn't able to support others. On the contrary, the others came now to me to support, in a way, to support me. Or so this was also a perspective of mine, a pattern of mine, I had to realize. And now I'm out of this victimhood. I am out of kumbaya. I realized this Atlantean pattern. And so now I feel I'm open for it. Now abundance, because I have changed. Now it's possible that abundance is coming to me again. But I realized I wasn't ready before for it.
Mm.
And at the same time, really big potential here. It's I know it is. I mean, many realized Traumbras. There are many who say, "Well, you have to be in a way also humble, be satisfied, and you have what you have." And I feel I'm here. My mission is to go out to the world to create new places where people can meet, and so, and of course it requires a lot of money. And I just, this day is an island of belonging to Fiji showed up, and I got goosebumps. I really got
Wow.
goosebumps. So beautiful, pure nature. It's really heaven on earth, and it's only 50 billions. So I said to myself, I'm open to it. It's here. And it's really pure nature. You know, there's the ocean, this I know from sailing in the southeast, it's so beautiful there. And on this island, there isn't deep water. You can slowly go in. It's also beautiful for children. So there are coral reefs. There's 1,000 square meter rainwood, really real nature, lots of springs and waterfalls and small creeks. Everything is there. So and the government has a plan to that there are buildings and things like this. And this island came to me and said, no small buildings, a small marina, a few houses, but not much more. And so I'm in conversation with this island, and I just let it happen. And it's so incredible, this really pure, innocent nature, not touched. I mean, the good thing was Fiji was, there's always two sides. There was no democracy for a long time. There was a military government, and therefore there were no tourists and things like this. My nephew has been there after we sailed together in 2012. It was just going to be open a little bit, and now they are on the way to democracy, and therefore the islands are not spoiled from tourism, and therefore they are still in this innocent nature, I would say, this pure nature. Of course, it's going to change. That's yeah. So yeah. But what I wanted to mention, I'm open for it. This, I mean, a year ago I would have said, oh, 15 billions, impossible. No, so okay, I'm open to it. If this island wants to come to me, beautiful, because this is really a appropriate space for all of us. You're all invited. What I do carry since years within myself to create places around the world where conscious people can meet just like this, without any plan or.
That's a great idea. And you know what, you actually have that kind of energy that could manifest that. You know, not only that you see they have a big vision, but you also are welcoming, and you're a person that knows how to entertain, you know, all to organize all of these things. You would be a wonderful yeah, wow. When you said that, I saw it. I just saw it.
Yeah. And it's, you know, the other day, and I have a German friend here. He's a musician, and we have now a most beautiful contact. And the other day I told him, Tom, you know, this, I sent you some pictures, and he was so engaged in it. We talked about it. It was something I've never done before, but I talked with him also about it. And then this night I couldn't sleep. I stayed there until 3 o'clock. The island was there. I was freezing. I got up, I looked at the laptop again, at all the pictures, and it just came to me. It was, and there I felt a difference to all what I was thinking before I could move on. I never experienced it in a depth like this. So, yeah.
Well, because I think today it is possible now with crypto, like, you know, okay, at the moment crypto's down, but it's going to go up, you know, like people can make huge, like what I'm saying is that there's ways to create that kind of abundance. And especially like I was reading, or I think was watching YouTube video, how people are getting together to create this kind of projects, you know, like and I think it's a great idea. And also another thing, this kind of visual this kind of flying, you're doing this internal flight into the spaces, this kind of spaces, like these kind of spaces, they are real. And to allow yourself to actually explore and play and fly into these spaces, you know, this is what is actually even more incredible, what we haven't, because like, you know, our worlds have been so narrowed so that we could really just focus on the work of integration that needed to be done. But now is this time of expanding again, isn't it? Like when we can just explore this world.
And you know, there's something else also within me. I always loved gardening, and I always had outstanding gardens. People came, oh, that looks like a park, because for instance, I was collecting old roses, 200, 300 years roses who do smell, this old kind. And my gardens always were, it was just smelling. And in combination with clematis, with lilies, and things like this, I was a composer with and I was always looking for extraordinary flowers, very exotic. And people came in and said, oh, I've never seen it. So of course, no, you won't find it in the supermarket. I went through all the gardens through entire Europe where I could pick up this or this and this. So yeah, I love to compose parks or gardens, and that's what I feel is also important to, if I will, well, not if, I do buy this, and I know I would create an outstanding also parts of gardens, something else people haven't noticed it before. That's also to bring this incredible beauty to which is already there, but just to bring it together, this beauty, showing people, look, there is more than just 2 plants or so. There's much more you haven't known before. So this is also kind of a mission, I feel. And what I already felt and sensed is, for instance, that the trees are singing, nature is singing. Probably we don't have to talk so much anymore. It's the contact with nature is so natural, feeling it. So, yeah.
And I think like when you're talking, for me, the feelings that I get, or the spaces that come into my awareness, it's just this expansiveness. And I guess this is what part of the cross, like that the cross will enable, you know, like this kind of spaces. And also we really are entering, that's the feeling I'm getting from what you're saying. We're entering, some of us, you know, people, not people that haven't done the work yet, but, you know, all of us, Shaumbra, whatever we identify with, entering this real space of no boundaries, where the laws of physics are actually quite different, because we are starting to understand this quantum physics and much more. Because you know, the way that these laws have worked is to support our ideas of limitation, but now it's that time to really allow. And what you're talking about, you know, like if you were saying that to someone, you know, you met in a shop, they would say, oh, you're dreaming, oh, what a lovely dream. But you know, and that's pretty much where they would left it, because they would think, okay, so how many years do I have to work to earn 15 billion? You know what I mean? Like, how many jobs?
You can't do it by work. It's impossible.
Exactly. But you know, these are the kind of things that but what you're saying is like, this is the sense I'm getting, is that it really, these tools to work with reality, to mold reality in a completely different way are here. And oh my gosh, this like and these kind of ideas, you know, that we can, well, you're already allowing yourself to really go out there, you know, out there to really dream and feel and fly. And even whatever that happens, it's probably going to be within a miraculous way. Even, let's say, if it wasn't this island, some kind of even better would come out of this, because I could see you, this conductor of art. You're like this really incredible artist, you know, a sensual artist with senses, with feelings, and that's another thing that we're experiencing now, more and more different feelings that we have no words for. Oh my gosh, thank you for sharing, because this wow. Like, what have you been getting, Hans Christian, when you were listening to when you were watching Doris fly?
Yeah.
She took us on a flight with us, with her.
I take yours. You are invited to fly with me.
Yes, we have flown. We just flew with you.
Yeah, I thought Doris could just visit this island, and the island called her for some reason anyhow. Whether it needs to be physical or not, I don't know. But just going there and grounding your energy, Doris, with the energy of the nature of this island, that may change that island forever. And that could be just that came to my mind, that you don't have to necessarily buy it right now for 50 billion. You could also just travel there and connect with it as a start. And whether you fly in your bed from your home, or whether you really physically fly there with and make a holiday. Well, I don't know, but yeah, that came to my mind. And but no, it's a wonderful story. Also, the roses that touched me when you said that you were collecting these 100-year-old roses. Yeah, that must be a wonderful passion. And I could see you in a wonderful garden with a sun hat and a cherry can.
That's it. Yeah.
Always very elegant. That's right, elegant hat, and you know, those beautiful gloves, gardening gloves, always elegant, right? But you know, the image that I was getting was Babylon. I saw the gardens of Babylon. So I think you're probably that you're probably expressing that part of yourself.
Yeah, it's there are beautiful gardens in France with this old roses. But I love the when I lived in Oxford, there were lots of castles, sometimes from time to time open with their gardens. This kind of English gardening where their most beautiful Chelsea Flower Show in London was the highest for me, because I saw all this, the beauty of the plants, which many people just don't see. I mean, you show it very often in your pics. They have, if you look inside a plant, it's so beautiful, and yeah, that's
and it's all
me.
sacred geometry. It's all sacred geometry
Yeah,
on the
always.
petals and how
Yeah,
they're
and that's also one thing I would love. I've done it before for me, for myself, because it enjoyed me. And in Germany, while we built our house, it was in 77. I was one of the first collecting this old kind of roses, and I had to command them in Switzerland. And they had to pass the Zoll, how is it called, Zoll, Hans Christian? The customs. So they had to, they had to, and they, the gardener who did send it to me, had to put it in gas to neutralize that nothing of bacteria and things like this do arrive in Germany. So it was very difficult and very expensive, but I was so open to it, so enjoy with it. So I commanded, I ordered these roses all over Europe to get them. And years later on, it became very common with Austin roses in England and so on and so on. So this, I very often feel I'm, in many points, I'm always the first showing the people the beauty, and then they discover it and do it on themselves too. So yeah, that's also my intention with this, whatever I'm creating. And Hans Christian, I asked myself, is it okay if I bring already my consciousness on this island, or I don't want to manipulate? And she said, yeah, just bring your consciousness, bring it on this island. And I have been living there in daydreams already. I had 3 days. I only stayed on this island. It was so intense. And of course, what you mentioned, also, Alexis, it would be possible that I can buy it, or there's another island. But this one here, what I told you before, is so innocent, so pure, has such a beauty of nature. And it would break my heart if they would destroy their rainforest, things like this. What I feel is it is important to keep places like this, not to let them destroy by any tourism. Or tourismus, but a soft tourismus, a guided tourismus, and not the usual one with a lots of noise. Really being there, maybe inviting people for breathing, for sessions. Certainly there are people who do have psychic problems in the upcoming years. Maybe this could be a center where people can be invited to relax, to find to themselves. These are the impressions I get, to create a lot with music, with beauty, and with nature. Nature is healing.
And it's such a beautiful world that you're painting, really. And the interesting thing is, you said you were there for 3 days, so physically present.
Yeah.
You know, I've actually been having a parallel reality, this real as well. So it's kind of like it's as if I'm reliving into, you know, my own version of the island, and it's kind of like I am this another person. I'm another person in this other reality. It's like I'm living 2 realities. It's quite a weird experience, because, you know, because initially I thought, oh my gosh, am I distracting myself, you know, to kind of, but I think it's just this multidimensionality has become like a whole nother level real. And so
Yeah.
I'm just kind of allowing it, you know, to so it's still, it started with, you know, Archangel Michael as an Archangel Michael sitting on top of Eiffel Tower kind of thing, but it's kind of morphed into this real other
Yeah.
reality where I am this other person, and it's just with the whole family, with the whole everything, and the house is real, the people are real, the it's quite incredible, and at the same time I'm able to operate in my this reality as well. So
Yeah.
it's kind of like this yeah, we're really experiencing now this not just one life, you know, but a number of different lives that are as tangible, like I can even smell, and to the detail of clothes and shoes and all everything is quite wow. I'm glad that you mentioned it, because it's kind of like what I'm experiencing as well. So,
It's great. It's great. Yeah, and I know, you know, there aren't so many even genres yet with whom you can talk about it. And
no.
I had the impression like I can bring up this here in this, as we are
Yeah,
very small and intimate round
yeah,
today.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah, and it's also I feel now very satisfied here where I'm living here, because there's the end. I'm also living there.
Mm.
And you know, for both of you, Fiji is not so far away from
No, no,
Australia.
no, it's
So
very close. Yeah, I mean,
Mm.
Australia and Fiji government, they cooperate in all
they
sorts of
cooperate.
different
Yeah,
ways. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I first have to come to Australia and then
Yeah,
go to
yeah,
Fiji.
yeah. Well, in Australia
Yeah.
also
Mm.
there are many kind of still, you know, like this kind of pristine places. But like you said, I've experienced that when it's almost like this grief when you see it all being destroyed as well, because there's always,
Yeah.
you know, the development. But I've kind of now moved, maybe 2-3 years ago. That was really so primary in my. It was all in my face, even more a few more years ago. But now I kind of realized that because the reality is so flexible, that actually I now live in different spaces, that like you said, these many earths are also becoming really real.
Yeah.
And you know, because before I was sort of thinking, oh, a problem, overpopulation is a problem, and you know, all of these kind of things. But then I realized, wow, so I have to look at these things that different perspective. And I realized that actually there is incredible amount of space. It's kind of like it's the space and time is malleable, you know,
Yeah.
and they're not
Mm.
fixed. And
Mm.
so I really now have to allow, I mean, I am allowing this kind of really out of the brain ideas of what is possible, you know, because it's really time to step out of that old paradigm, of that old Newtonian laws of physics
Mm.
and stuff.
Mm.
And because we are just in front of making real connections with non-earthly, non-physical beings, like in a real sense, you know.
Mm.
So that will be another interesting thing, how that develops, you know. So I think that it's really important to look at these kind of things. So when I feel, wow, look, some companies trying to destroy blah blah blah, I'm realizing actually they can't, because they can't access the spaces that I'm now living in and creating, because they're not of the old earth. See,
Yeah.
so this old earth is where all of that destruction is happening. But when we create the new earth, you know, it's a very different kind of idea. And if and also, if I don't believe that, you know, these are the ideas that I hold, and then they manifest, is that, oh, people, you know, all these people greed, destroy, blah blah blah, and then it happens. So I realized that I in myself have to actually change that.
Oh,
You
yeah.
see, because if I keep believing that, then I keep creating the world where that is kind of true, you see. So these are things that I've been playing with for quite a few years now, because me too, I've been, concerned, and especially, let's say, for people who have children and perhaps are concerned about the future. So it's not so much, that we have to just fix the old earth. It's like we are really create, because other spaces, other places, other beings, we have to now really, well, that's what I say to myself, I have to now really accept that as true. That like all of these beings, Seth and Adamus, and all of these places must become true for me, really true, really tangible, really real, because otherwise there will always just be that theory, or like unaccessible. But now with this cross, it's not just that soul and human will have an easy life, because it's also that all of these other beings, all of these other spaces are going to be accessible to us. So I think that's what Adamus also mentioned, doesn't he? Like that like we will, humanity is not going to be so enclosed just into our own self. And so we really have to believe that now, like not to just be a fantasy, and all of these things, and that people in the human race is good, is looking after earth, is looking after nature. And so kind of that's kind of what I've let it go, the old earth, and not let it go to not care about, but let go of those ideas that I had, that I really have to, oh, look, they're cutting down this bit of rainforest again, and putting another suburb and blah, 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 because that's full on happening, here. But I have to really relook at all of these things in a different way, because otherwise I'll just keep creating that. That's that kind of situation. So that's perhaps one of those perspectives, and I would be really interested if you do, the next time that we chat, and to hear how you've experienced that with your island, the insights that you're having, if you change that perspective as to actually where it is, whether it's just in the old earth where it's open to this kind of horrible development, or whether it's also now becoming a real place as in another earth.
It's a very important insight of you, not to think about they are going to destroy it. It's what we think is reality, So just to accept it and create my own stuff. Thank you. That's a very, very important insight and perspective. Yeah.
Well,
I have to change
yeah,
myself too, because we are judging very easily. Oh, they do destroy, they do this and that,
and then they do,
and then they do,
That's the thing, because we are creators, isn't it? We are creators, and for me, it's very curious. I mean, I do ponder these things a lot, these kind of bigger issues, because all of these kind of issues of the number of people. It's interesting that now we have 8 billion, and what that means in numerology, and 8 is now it's a number of the infinity, because all these things that are outside are symbols of the inner reality. They're just symbols of the inner reality. So they mean something. So they're symbols, they mean things. And so looking also at how are we gonna, like the tech way would be that we have to go, some people have to go into tin aircrafts and go to Mars and go to whatever. But there must be like a metaphysical solution to these kind of issues, so and this is all these new earths. But if it's just continue to be a theory, then it's not okay. It's never gonna nothing's gonna change. We're just then really living that utopia, and so utopian dream, and not reality. And so I kind of look at this, and one of the solutions is that time and space, you know, they stretch, they expand, they're not real.
They're malleable, yeah.
That Earth is not a certain size, that it's stretched, because it's reality. It's really not, you know, like we're now playing in those kind of spaces which are not they don't are not defined by physical laws, you know, like when you allow soul is not really physical. The human part of the soul is physical, but the majority of soul self is non-physical, and those kind of different kind of rules and laws apply there. And so as its presence is more and more here too in the human physical, then even that is malleable and changeable. And so those kind of things really are now, I think, at the forefront, that we have to really grapple them and implement them and make them true and own them to really then manifest this kind of. And like you said, yes, it's not that many, you know, because a lot of people are still so dealing with their own issues that they have to still clear and integrate. It's only the next, when you've done the basics, that you can then kind of go into this kind of really bigger creatorship ideas and of what's next, you know, what is next. Because next isn't anymore just that, oh, we're just gonna be in our own kumbaya and the world's just gonna be, you know, it's like it's a whole different reality. You go.
That's what I sense so deeply. For me, the next is not an expanded being of what is now. It has to be totally new for me, for myself. And yeah, but what I mentioned before, there aren't many even Shaumbra, even realized friends. I very often perceive that they are very happy in their environment, and that's it. And for many, it's fantastic, because out of their environment, they can create, they can serve other people. But this is not my mission. And I think it's extremely important to see, to realize what is me, what is my mission. And my mission, I feel, is really to break all kind of boundaries.
For me the same. Yeah.
Do you fly with us, Hans Christian?
Oh yes, I do. My sister who works in shamanism, and the old shamans in South America, they're saying you have to dream your world. You dream the world first. Before, on that, I felt reminded to this sentence when Alexis was saying that that we create this new world, or we shouldn't forget to create it all the time, versus rescuing the old. And I don't want to say one is good and one is bad or right or wrong. No, but just creating this other, dreaming this better world makes much sense to me. And the other day I was driving down the road with my car, and I was looking at the trees, and I could see they were suffering a little bit under the heat, but they're Australian trees. They have done it before. They know it. And I was seeing the beauty of these trees. And then suddenly I saw a layer, a kind of a non-physical existence layer of these trees. And it is like a silent sound. It's not so, even so the visual was slightly enhanced when I got aware of the music that the tree was, or what it is radiating on another level. And then unfortunately, this lasted just a few seconds, that experience. But I realized you can see this world so completely different in a deeper layer, which is almost exploding in beauty and radiance. That was very nice. And the other thing I noticed was I had a lot to do with aspects of mine and dreams of how life could be this or that, or and then I realized, also because Adamo said it, but I kind of realized, oh no, all these potentials, they are already living parallel to you. It's everything you could think of, you know, even the first first girl I met in my life when I was a teenager. There's a reality where I'm married to her and have a family, and it's all happening. And so that's then all fine. If this is really all happening, then I can really relax in a way. But I can't yet jump into that parallel life and live it like Alexis was saying, that she has a family and a house and kids and
No, I don't have kids yet. I don't have kids yet. I'm still the kid. I'm 22 years old. So I'm
you're still the kid.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But I have two sisters, and I have actually and a brother, and I have two parents. It's just like, it's incredible. And I even have some stepsisters, and this is in New York. It's in New York, and I can totally see the house and the inside. And we have this big hallway when you come in, because it's quite a, you know, the rich house. Yeah. And then on the side we have all the private rooms, and then on the other side, on this side, is where you can have like official parties and stuff. And the father, he's got a big company of architectural and structural engineering company. I mean, the detail of that. You know what I mean? I could even see the clothes that I wear, and this is all happening. I wake up in both realities, and I'm like, and I'm a guy in that other place, and it's like, oh my God, you know. But they actually do feed together, because in that reality, so that young guy that I am, I'm a dancer. So all of a sudden, it's just what is amazing. Like all of a sudden, Alexis can dance much better, and so as I dance, it's kind of like we meld and we dance together. I don't know in which reality, who knows, doesn't matter. But here I can dance in this body, and the weirdest thing is, because I get all these images. I mean, I can't do all those dance moves as Alexis, but I get images. So I'm like dancing as me, Alexis, and I'm also dancing as that other guy. And then the funny thing is, then I open the next day or the same day, you know, because I follow a number of dancers. I love dancing and stuff. And then they actually then do those moves. And it's like they've actually videoed, you know, I've never seen those moves. Like I just kind of get the moves. Yeah. And then all of a sudden I see, you know, how you have those little videos and reels. And I know that it wasn't an old video, because you can see when they've uploaded. Like if I've actually got this image, even down to the clothes, like I can be wearing a hat in that other reality and doing the dance number, whatever. And then the next day I see someone actually having this kind of hat and those kind of moves that I've never seen before, and that video was just uploaded the next day, you see. So it's not like I saw it last week and then what. It's just like these kind of things that keep happening, or I see something on YouTube and I'm like, oh my God, this is like in my you know. It's kind of like the how they say, you know, this is the thing that I used to read in Seth books, you know, 20-30 years ago. and like sometimes you would have those sci-fi movies where those kind of parallel realities that come together and separate, and some bits are together, and it really is like this. They are not separated like this, but they're enmeshed, isn't it? They're like enmeshed in that thing. And also, Hans Christian, when you mentioned, I get that a lot as well, when I would actually just see something for a few milliseconds, but because now we are so perceptive, that is enough to give me that experience and that feeling, and then I cultivate that. You can then keep returning because you've seen that, you experience that other reality. So I would then just keep returning to that feeling and to that experience, and you'll see that it will actually expand. And so probably this might be your window into this another reality. So just hang out in that feeling and see where it takes you, because it will, if you hang out there, like, you're lying in bed and just bring it in. That's what I do. Like when I have these experiences, few milliseconds, and it's absolutely enough just to give me the experience of something new. And then I just run with it. And then it just morphs into who knows what, but yeah, that's pretty much it. That's it, Hans Christian, you have that. So just cultivate it, because that's what it is, isn't it, Doris? Is that what you like? The more you feel this island, and the more it just becomes real.
It becomes real. And what you mentioned before, if there was another, for instance, another potential, I was thinking about it or feeling it. Very often, a few hours later, I saw on the internet something about this this potential, and so I always know, okay, it's my soul bringing it from all. Universe is showing me, look, it's real, it's here. Just read about it, and this is just such a phenomena, and I love it. It's so great to be aware of it, and but it requires really trusting yourself, trusting your soul, being comfortable in your soul, that the soul can go out with yourself, with you, and dance and laugh, and in an earlier incarnation, I love to dance, but in this lifetime, I felt inside me, I am a dancer, I am a musician, but I couldn't express it. There was like, if there would be a blockage there. And once I was shown an incarnation as a musician, and I so often ask myself, is it possible? It's not. It can't be. All these famous people, it's not possible. I don't believe it. And it came up, and it came up, and it came up, and my doll was not a girl, it was a boy, and it was called Wolfgang.
Oh, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart. There you go.
And then I realized, okay, I didn't know anything about this incarnation, not at
but
all.
Yeah, I can see you as that, because you have that sophistication, that artistry within you, that that you could channel that music and just write it down if you in another lifetime.
Oh yeah, because I felt always in the moment I accepted, I said, okay, I do accept, I believe it. It changed, and I felt the potential. I would love to play the piano. I would love to play the violin, and so I perceive now it's possible. I just have to let come this potential, or accept this potential, and just go on. I don't know how, but with the knowingness, it's within me. These creative expressions are within me. I know I've been very often an artist or just on this level. And I couldn't express it. Well, I did express it in this way that I run my gallery for more than 20 years. And I could express myself in my creation in this way, but just creating myself some things. That's what I feel now. That's what my soul is, also what I'm longing for, and certainly my soul, really to be this creator, yeah. To create this island with art and or inviting artists with sculptures, with this with musicians, and just going on making music ourselves.
But also like just having this in your life, you know, this as a side parallel reality. Look how much it actually affects your life, just how much happiness and joy and excitement it brings to your to the other life. And that's what I find with that with my parallel kind of life, and it's for a reason why there are certain ones. For me, it's really healing my relationship with my father. So in this lifetime, I had a very crappy relationship, you know, the abandonment and all of that kind of stuff. And in this lifetime, it's just this incredibly beautiful relationship between the son and the father, and also between the father and the two other, you know, the daughters, and both parents, really. And so all of the feelings that I can feel as this boy, I also am feeling in my body as Alexis, and he can feel the things that I'm feeling as Alexis in his body. And so it's this helping each other with this incredible feeling, so he can get more maturity into his life, you know, from me, and I can get his feelings. And so especially in the last few months, I've just been feeling to do with my own masculine and feminine, these incredible feelings that I've never felt before, and the things that I see, and all of a sudden into my reality have come, like what I see, this incredibly beautiful partnerships, you know, has marriages that I've actually I've never seen them before. You know, before I would just notice the problematic things, you know, like whether it's in the movies or other people or people that I meet. But all of a sudden, I can see that some people experience this incredible depth of this beautiful partnership that I didn't think it was possible. So whether that's new, that it's fairly new, or whether, you know, I don't know. It wasn't in my reality. And so like I think we are today really talking about Heaven's Cross, really, aren't we? Like these parallel realities that are possible, isn't it? And how they interact. And like you, Hans Christian, when you were saying how, you know, you married this other person and it's really real, to have that present in this now moment, that past and the potentials and all these other things that could have happened and did happen in other realities, it has this incredible effect on this life. And also like how it's healing the whole story, like my story. I find that even my mind can't find the description of the old story, of my story, Alexis, the way I used to do it, because it doesn't actually exist anymore, because all of a sudden the flavors of this new relationship are now present in my growing up. And all of a sudden my childhood, I'm thinking, wow, it was actually really beautiful. And I'm thinking, wow, so where did all that other painful stuff go? It just melted away, because these past is actually as real and dynamic and changeable, and it's now interacting in my now moment. It's interacting with this life as with this now moment. And that's also then like what our non-physical friends are teaching us, you know, about the future self, the master that you were and will be, that for that part to, you know, so it's really like now talking to both of you, I'm getting a much clearer idea of what this Heaven's Cross is doing for us. Like honestly, 2 hours ago, we're just channeling this, aren't we? All three of us. We are. We are. Do you feel
when you were talking
yeah.
just about masculine, feminine, I felt really it's coming up as a wholeness. It's such a beautiful sense. I feel so cozy, like there would be a cloud covering me with.
It's safety. It's this incredible safety and support. And if you don't have this, then your abundance doesn't flow. Because isn't it? Yeah. Sorry, you go. And it's this cozy.
But this coming together, masculine and feminine in oneness, this is so beautiful. And all what we are talking about today is just wow.
For me too.
And what I don't want to talk all the time, Hans Christian, but I want to mention one thing more, what you were talking about too, Alexis. What I feel and sense, especially during the recent days and week, or especially this year, that I'm very much supported and accompanied by who is also being with me, Serapis Bay.
But who? Sorry, who did you just? Serapis Bay and who?
Serapis Bay.
Oh, Serapis Bay.
Yeah, and she's here. Saint-Germain, Kuthumi, and I didn't have for a long time deep interaction with Michael, but Michael was there after my awakening because I was uncovered by black magic. So he supported me over 10, 12 years. And then I felt a kind of a distance to him. And now he came back in such a loving way.
He's just got such a beautiful masculine. I'm just so in love with Michael's masculine side. It's just this, oh my God, it used to be this harsh and warrior, but now, oh my God.
And this I think it's connected to Heaven's Cross, that we have these interactions, which I didn't have. I didn't have a deep interaction with Adamus, never. But I always had it with Saint-Germain. Saint-Germain, I know we have been together during lifetimes. But now they are all there. Mary Magdalene.
She's very present also. Yeshua also.
They are all there, and I feel so safe being guided by them. And it's really, since Heaven's Cross, there's a different sensibility, I would say, or more senses have been opened. Or when I listen to the music to Heaven's Cross, it's getting into my entire body. I feel the changes in my head, in my body. It's coming from here to here, and I feel my body is not the same anymore.
And just for me also with any music, like the music is not anymore what I used to think music was, like that it goes into your ear. I feel like vibration throughout my body. It's like it's changed from sound to it's just energy vibrating, and it's so pleasurable to feel. It's such a pleasure. It's like, it's not just the sound, it's just a pleasure to feel. And that's why dancing for me is just, I dance every day I dance a lot.
I have to recommend too. Okay, next time let's dance.
In your island we will dance like crazy, won't we? Make sure to have a dance floor, make sure.
I'm sure. And all the Polynesian people, for instance, they dance a lot and sing, and so they're even on, I think also on Fiji, it's mixed, but there are also a few Polynesian people living there. So yeah, I'm sure that there is music in the air. We can
Okay.
dance. The dance floor is created.
Do you dance sometimes, dear Hans Christian? Do you dance or not? Not really.
Yeah, we're coming.
Sorry.
Not enough. Not
No.
enough. Sometimes I do a pirouette in the kitchen.
Oh.
But I actually should dance more. I'd say.
Yeah, I suggested
But
much
I
because
started
it's like a
more
whole new
to
level. Sorry.
listening to music. I do, and I was getting Spotify. My daughter had it, and I realized you can stream so many things right away, and of course I have now the paid subscription because I don't like the advertising and all that stuff. So, but yeah, so when I'm in the kitchen, do something, put something on. Sometimes just piano music, or sometimes my old and the Beatles and whatever, you know.
The Beatles.
And yeah, no, it's good fun.
You know, I had an exposition with John Lennon at for his 50th birthday, and it was the 10th year of his death. And I had a great exhibition in Germany, and you know, on the radio, I was on television live. My gallery was overcrowded with Americans, but also with Germans, and I was in contact with Elton John. He would have come and played there in the gallery, but the price was then at this time anyhow a little bit. Yeah, I mean it was okay for him, but. And so this was really a great, as I loved John Lennon always too, a great experience. He was always talking about this dream, this other reality, and what many people didn't know, he studied art before music. So he did draw quite a lot, and I got the permission from Yoko Ono for this exhibition.
Wow.
And so on and so on. So yeah, the Beatles are very familiar to me.
Wow. I had no idea, but that's pretty impressive, isn't it? Wow.
Yeah. It was a great time, but after 4 weeks, I was in a way exhausted because the gallery was crowded from the opening to the evening, and yeah, I always permanently was hanging on the telephone for an interview in another radio station. And 10 years later, I met somebody. He said, "I know your voice. Was it you as galleries exposing John Lennon?" I said, "Yeah." "Well, I still remember your voice. I heard you talking while I was driving the car."
Oh wow!
This was really crazy.
Wow, isn't that amazing? And like John Lennon, like his words are actually to create the reality, isn't it? It's like imagine if all the people lived in peace. So it's like if you imagine, then it will, isn't it? So rather than think about, okay, why are all the people in a war? Then
imagine.
That's
imagine really was such an imprint on me already at this time. Imagine. It's so important.
Like, imagine peace, imagine harmony, imagine all of these, you know, it's what we're doing now, isn't it?
Yep.
You know, as creators, that's what I find that fascinating too.
Yeah,
is how when I look back at some of the like artists, singers, like from the 80s and 60s and 50s and whatever, and when you actually read what they wrote, they were such prophets. and I had no idea, like, you know, for me sometimes so often, and I quite like that I wake up, I mean, I wake up and I'm thinking, my God, have I lived under a rock? I say that a lot of the time because and or whether it's just all the history changing or whatever, or just becoming perceptive of what actually was, and I'm thinking, wow, I watched this actor and now I realize how ahead of their time they were, or I just listened to this music and I had no idea, like it was a nice music, but how ahead of their time this person was.
Absolutely.
You know, or like, for example, let's say Prince, you know, all of when you listen to his interviews, and I'm thinking, wow, when I remember me, how closed, how limited, how tiny I was at that time, and there was this this person who was already living this, what I'm only now, like 30 years later. It's just like, oh, far out. It's quite incredible. Yeah, and how much things have changed.
Before Christmas, I saw the David Bowie movie, and I enjoyed it very much because it was all these old interview footage they had, and they put that in a kind of a story basically, and so it was not a script and an actor, because it was the real interview, what he said at the time, and that gave you a deeper insight in the person Bowie, because he was a rule breaker, an icebreaker, a mountain mover. He moved so much energy in the world at this time. So and always wanted to try something new. Yeah, now I was quite touched by the movie, and I still listen to quite many of his songs.
He was quite big in the 80s. I remember, like, that's when I first came across. He was huge then, wasn't he? Like, so and you know, to sort of now realize how now we can understand their words. You know, these people ahead of their time. It's like, wow, pretty amazing. So from it's like it's full of discoveries, life. I don't know. You know, you're like Hans Christian. Can you imagine even like a few years ago to sort of be experiencing these things? I couldn't imagine. I really couldn't.
Me not either.
You need but you've got huge imagination already. You're ahead of both of us. Like you're just like, ooh, you know, ooh, let's expand some more. Okay.
Today we are bringing the group, we do it together.
We are. But like, I think how different. I feel so different than I did an hour ago, you know, because
and like, next time I'll invite Tom. It's Tom Lemon. You probably know his music with the Breathing with Tanya.
Yes.
He's German, so now we have a pretty good relationship. It was Tom the other day, and he's also on this level. It was the first I've been speaking with him, because he's so open for it too. And he said, you know, music I can play everywhere. I just take my clavichord. And it's so incredible. He does express the things with music. When I hear this, it's music of the spheres, and when I heard it the first time before I did know him, I felt everything in my body. I at this time, Tanya did it once while breathing, in a breathing session. She said, "Oh, there's a friend of mine. I won't say any word anymore. I just play his music," and I perceived myself as a chamber dancer in the East with this long nails, this woman, and I felt the elegance and the movements, and I was just because of his music, I was dancing, and now when I listen to his music, it's always touching my head, my body, and I'm immediately out in other affairs. It's I perceive so much through his music. It's really
Doris, and
amazing.
who are you talking about?
It's Tom
Doris,
LeMond.
who are you talking about? Which
Tom LeMond, and he has created a with Tanya Castillo together with Tizi Aela, Tanya is breathing and he is making music for it. It's a kind of a disc or record, or but you can order
find him
yours,
on and you can find him on Facebook too. Tom LeMot, isn't it? Tom LeMot.
Yeah.
LeMot.
Yeah, and you'll see
Tom, and then LA and MOT. Yeah, Tom LeMot.
And you'll find this that we have all lots of friends in common. That's easy to
Yeah, you know, the crazy thing is with Tom too. He was also talking about David Bowie these days, and I said, Tom, is there any subject we don't agree? I mean, whatever I think about or talk about, he loves too. It's also him. So it's so funny, or it's not funny, that just those who are fitting together, I would say, are coming together now.
True.
It's maybe our energy just all collecting this. I know there are other groups also,
and I think we have because we have jobs to do. I think, you know, like we have jobs to do, and it's not about better or worse. I think it's just that, okay, so we each have our own talents in this thing, and now we're getting together to do this expansion, like what we're doing today, where we've expanded each other in a huge way, each one of us, all of three of us. And I think this is what is our job, isn't it? That's why we get together. It's like, okay, get together, do this job. I can see Adamus. Yes, you go that way, you go that way. He's a bossy one, isn't he? You go that way. And do it, just do it.
Do it. Walk on. Yeah, it's really like this, because sometimes some months ago, when I had some dreams, how do I bring it into my realization? And now I think therefore it's very important that we have this exchange, to have this possibility, that we have this new expanded gravity which serves us.
And it makes it much more real. I think, like when we talk about it, you know, then all of a sudden it's not so nebulous. Like you think, wow, that was a real experience, and it becomes very not pragmatic. What's the word? You know, it becomes embodied. It's like real, and you get, it's like we're witnesses to each other. To the experiences that are having, and then we can allow ourselves to, like, because I'll go from this session that we're having, and I'm thinking, wow, there's like a next level that I can imagine and experience, you know. So I'm sure that each one of us will go and see what next, because then we can give ourselves permission, you know, like when you're in your own little world, isn't it? Then you can't give, you know, you're thinking, oh, should I or shouldn't I? Am I just dreaming? Is this allowed? You know, and then you're like,
you're pondering and sometimes have doubts, and that's a doubt who is breaking really the going around and so on. To experience it, and it's so important for not having doubts on it, and just letting it flower.
Well, like Adamus said, we can't afford to hang out in those spaces, isn't it? In the spaces of doubt, and we just can't afford it. And I guess it's because of that, because this veil is so thinning, that we don't actually have, you know, like we create what we hang out in, And so if we hang out in doubt, then we create, that's why I think it's so important to just let go of all of that and just
Just do it.
imagine, fly, feel, experience, and not question, because yeah, just fuck it all, fuck it all, and just and just let's just do it.
Yeah, exactly. Because the doubts are the little I won't call them butterflies, but they come in sometimes from there, yeah, but you can, when you sidestep them and they fly past you, sometimes you have a day where they just hit you, and then I just put the blanket over my head and say, I'm not playing with you, but that helps. That helps. But very often you just sidestep them, and then also you don't need the answer the doubt wants to hear. You tell the doubt, we don't need an answer. We just be surprised and relax and lay back, and yeah, and it's funny, it works more and more. It was a year ago or 2 years ago, you couldn't sidestep them so easily. You couldn't escape them so easily. So no, it gets more easy when you're aware of it, and when you stop beating you up when you just have a bad hair day, and yeah, just have a few drinks in the evening, that helps. But that I must say, don't take SSRI drugs. Drink a bottle of whiskey.
Oh, is that what he said? Oh, did he really? I have to go and get. I might get his advice exactly. And we do need a release. I find that I have quite a few drinks here and there too. And it's not anything about. I'm thinking, oh shit, tonight I'm just gonna zonk out. And I have a few, wine glasses, and that's it. I zonked out, and the next day it's like, oh, cool, I'll move on, But you do need sometimes, you need it, and just to zonk out of all of that intensity and whatever have you. And yeah, and the main thing for me, I found, is just all this, guilt and whatever, to just let it go, and whatever works, like I know, Hans Christian, you were saying about, like a computer game or something like that too, that I sometimes play too, but an hour here and there, like some flying computer game, it really helps me to feel that expansion, because some of the games are very expanding, like when you can fly and you can explore other worlds, and just to zonk out of all of the things, because you forget, you put your mind aside. I think everything is really good. Like if I don't make it into I should or shouldn't and whatever, then a chocolate or whatever, it's just, you just go for it.
When you come to Fiji, you can be sure you get the best wine ever, because next to my gallery, I also had an import of Bordeaux wine. But
did you really? Oh my God, all of the things that you used to do. I mean, my God. Hans Christian, she's a good friend to have.
But the normal wine didn't interest me. Only the Grand Cru and Cru Bourgeois, the best of the best.
Wow.
And I mean, at this time they were all already expensive. But if I look now, some of the chateaus, the bottle is about 1,000, 2,000 a bottle, 1,000 or 2,000 euros. I mean, they have been already expensive at this time, but no, it's the market. It's not the worthiness. It's the market making up these prices. But yeah, I loved it very much, and I guided very often people there in around Bordeaux, around the chateaux, because I do speak French, so I was always
Oh,
invited
wow.
by the owners
Mm.
and had private tastings and things like this. And so often I loved. And later on, I didn't have any relationship to Saint-Germain at this time because I was just under
Because
my
he would have
previous.
drunk all your expensive wine. Better to tell him to stay out.
I was wondering, I was so laughing, and it just also even the owner, and so there was such an atmosphere there. And then later on, I realized it was Saint-Germain. He liked to taste this very expensive, exclusive wines. Yeah, he accompanied me. So yeah, in Fiji, we have very good kitchen. We have dance plateaus. We can go swimming, diving, horse riding. There are horses. I love horse riding. Having good wines in the evening. My problem is that my body has so much changed. I don't support so much wine anymore. What do you say? Well, I have to train my body to. But
I find that I can't like what I used to drink, like because I worked in tourism, and tourism is a very social, like you keep going out and you have to have a few drinks, and but I can't anymore. The body can't support it, and but it's good because then you don't need as much, and then next day you don't have it's just a couple of glasses, 2-3 glasses enough, or whatever works. If I drank a whole whiskey, that would, I don't know if I could.
I couldn't stand it today anymore. We don't drink a lot, but we drink quality.
Yes, quality, exactly. Yeah. And when you were talking about your island, and I saw like how Yesh was gonna come and visit, and Saint Germain, and I thought, oh my God, Dora's gonna have to be careful with a wine because he's gonna drink it all. But then I thought, well, there's Yeshua. Yeshua can turn water into wine, so we're gonna be okay. You need friends with special skills.
And the Australian visitors can bring very good wines from Australia. Unfortunately, I've never seen a good Australian wine in German shops, but the Australian wines we drink here, I'd say they're almost better than the French wines we can get, especially the Shiraz. The red wines in Australia are superb, and the whites, I like the New Zealand whites better. So yeah, it's probably with the climate. Yeah.
We taste everything. Wow, isn't it? It's wonderful. Like you two could organize some kind of import-export. You could do like between Germany and Australia, like do some kind of import-export of wines. Why not?
Well, I've done it. I've been a direct importer from France, and I had not really a detail shop. It was more I didn't sell a bottle or so. I said the wooden cases, 2 wooden cases or 3 or things like this. And mostly, it's these were the collectors of art. Many of them were very interested in good wine. So sometimes I had degustations in the gallery, and then they bought both wine and art. Or I did some degustations for interested people, and then they bought. But I didn't have a shop or things like this. I really was an import there. But at this time, I had a very old cave where I could store them, but I couldn't, later on I couldn't go on because I became sinusitis. My sinuses were, I once was really super in tasting. I could remind all the tastes, and even I did drink a wine a year before. I could tell in a blind degustation, it's this and this wine from this chateau and from this year. And then I lost all this. And I think as I lost my gallery and everything, I had to lose to be open for them. And now my senses, also in a smelling sense, it's coming back. So you can be hopeful. Yeah, but it's all in change. And I think with this coming into the light bodying, I can't eat very much, or I have days where I'm really hungry. Last week I even bought some meat, which I normally don't, but I had to eat meat, and but then I can't eat anything for a long time, and things like this. Nearly every day it changes around. So yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of the time, because we're not fixed anymore into a template. We are not vegetarian or vegan or this or that. The body says, as you say, 1 week the body says I want meat, and then the other week, no, it doesn't. And yeah, I think we just have to go with the flow. That's these times.
Yeah, I experienced that too. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, and the changes and whatever, we just have to follow what we hear, the inner voice, isn't it? That's like, oh wow. Oh, I feel that we've come to the end of our discussion. Do you feel that, or do you have more to say that you would like to express?
No, we come full circle.
No, we can say good day and good night to each other. We had a really rounded and expanding time together. Yes.
I must say I really enjoy this intimacy in this way. I've been enjoying this group, so we just keep going, and whatever that we can explore and fly. I mean, because we just inspire each other, don't we? So I'm really looking forward to each one. So
yes, you both inspire.
And both of you as well, all three of us.
You both are very inspiring.
And as are you, and we learn all of these things and what is going to be possible. Like, honestly, both of you have opened all of these, like these worlds, what is possible. So let's go and explore more, because next month we're going to be 1 month closer to this Heaven's Cross. And I think, like, isn't it this weekend there's a Pronost, there's a Kihak, I think. So there's a lot of,
yes,
movements. And Kihak.
Prognosis tonight for me, for you tomorrow morning. Prognost and Kihak.
So it's a huge weekend, like huge expanding, like it's like, wow, this, I don't think that we could have done this kind of weekend like maybe even a year ago, because there's so much energy movement, isn't it? Or just like boom, boom, boom. But now we can just do it because we're multi-dimensional. It's like, bring it on. So, like for anyone. But okay, so so on your island, Yeshua will have to keep making wine, and Adamus, Saint Germain will drink some, but there will be some for the rest of us. And he's gonna eat because he was very plump, wasn't he? So there could be good food, and oh my God.
Oh yeah, it's I also thought, well, planting their own coffee, like something
Oh,
like
yeah,
Kona
yeah,
coffee,
yeah, yeah,
the best cacao, always the best plants, fruits and so on. Only the best of quality that we are really enjoying eating, living, and so on.
Wow.
Mhm.
Oh, wow. I'm gonna have to add some of your ideas to
Mhm.
my New York house.
Yeah.
Yes.
I pass it over to you.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I visit you there, and you have to serve a very good wine in New
Yeah.
York. Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
this in this other parallel life, my father, who's got a firm, architectural and engineering firm,
Very interesting. We need
he can build whatever, you know, he
Yeah.
wants. Wow. On your
Yeah, and
island.
I already have seen some crazy tree houses. You have
Wow.
I have your email address, so I can send it to you.
Send me, yeah. But the tree expert, Hans Christian's gonna be, because he saw different energy around them, so he can actually.
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I send it to you. If you have
As
Hans
well, yes,
Christian's email, you can send it to him. So you'll get the link to the island and to
Wow.
treehouse,
Yes,
and what I perceive also is some not in the Fiji style, but I've seen once a house with a lots of glass, this kind of open houses near the waterfalls, but with a lot of glass and plants and flowers and things like this. Yeah, all of the beautiful things you can imagine.
all
So
the beautiful and quality, all of it. Oh my gosh, that's truly a new earth. That's truly is a new earth.
yeah,
And it oh wow. Okay, and on that
that's
note,
great.
so yeah, let's create and let's dream and let's fly. And
Mhm.
so I will send you with WeTransfer again. Oh no, actually the link, isn't it? I forget things like what I'm doing. So I will send you the link, and yeah, until next time. And I've
Until
enjoyed
next
it
time.
so much.
Yeah, no, it was
Mm.
beautiful, and
Me too.
I'm so happy that I could share it with you. Now I feel it was really appropriate because we all three are able to create it, really to dive into creation. So
Create, yeah, exactly, yeah. And I think we are asked to
yeah,
expand in this way. Imagine. I know that, wasn't it last year that Saint Germain a few times mentioned, and Michael mentioned a few times, that just imagine.
yeah.
So you know, like, pull whatever comes up for each one of us, just to keep with it. And wow, where we're going with this, you know. Yeah. All right, okay, until next time, dear friends. So
Yeah, until next
Yes.
time.
namaste.
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 Namaste.